Hello and happy Tuesday. I'm StormTracker8 meteorologist Jessica Kirk, and it is my pleasure to host you all here for the Beyond the Forecast. This is my first time, so be easy on me, as well as the fact that we have a very difficult forecast to talk about and a very exciting forecast to talk about if you're here to hear about the snow. We will have the latest on everything we know about the snow. And I also have a friend with me to ask all of the... Mary Catherine!
I was here.
On me.
Yeah.
We have Mary Catherine Price here with me to talk about maybe some of the questions that folks perhaps might have in case you guys don't have any questions to think of, which I'm sure you will. Mary Catherine and I have already talked about some of the questions. Mary Catherine, are you excited about the snow?
I'm always excited about the snow. The numbers you were telling me before we got on this little show are a little crazy. I don't know if I'm ready for those numbers.
There's definitely a lot to talk about, and I'm sure that a lot of folks have seen some of the crazy numbers. If you do have questions, comments, whatever it may be, if they're comments, be nice to us, okay? We're doing our best out here.
We really are.
You can go ahead and scan the QR code, get those into us. Mary Catherine's going to let me know if there are questions, and then we can answer them. I know that there are probably going to be a lot of the same question popping up, and when it gets asked, we'll talk about it, okay? Because we all want to talk about what's going on this weekend. So we will go ahead and start off with, of course, this day in weather history, because we are getting into that time of the year and the time of the month here towards the end of January where we will typically see some of our heavier snowfall totals, higher snowfall totals, and some of our colder days as well. Not only do we have snow to talk about upcoming, this is what I'm most concerned about, MC, to be honest with you, is that it's going to get cold.
It was cold today.
It's going to get colder.
It's gonna get colder. My dog is so cold. He doesn't want to go outside. He doesn't want to wear his sweater. He doesn't want it.
Yeah, next week is going to be brutal. And, of course, we have to deal with the snow first. So we're going to talk about all of that. Today weather history, back in 1918, we did have a winter storm that brought 7 inches of snow to Richmond, which is pretty chunky in my book. Really anything over that 4-inch mark. Now we're talking about some more impacts to folks, maybe not being able to get on the roads for a few days. I'm sure back in 1918, the impacts were a lot different than what they are over 100 years later today. But then just 21 years ago, 2005, winter weather brought about 1 to 3 inches of snow across central and then east central Virginia. So we're going to see a lot more of these today in weather history over the next few days involving snow and potentially even some of our record blizzards and snowfall, just because we're coming up on that time of the month. So it's really no shocker that we are seeing snow this time of year. I don't know about you, but I was surprised to see snow back in December. We usually don't get snow in December like that, but this is not necessarily out of the question to be talking about the possibility of snow at the end of the month. So nothing too crazy there. So we'll jump right in. We'll start off here with the big picture. We have our Viper satellite and radar here over the last 6 hours. And right now, you can see high pressure centered over the eastern portion of the United States. And you may be looking at this saying, oh, is that guy up there going to be our snow? No. You can see up there over the Rockies, up towards Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota. That is not the same system that we're speaking of in terms of what's going to bring us the snow coming up on Saturday and Sunday. In fact, we're going to be looking at a completely different system that does not exist yet. So I don't have a visual right now to show you where our weather system is that we are going to be tracking. We just don't have it yet. So that's the fun part about this is that
so fun.
We're trying to grasp something in our models. We're trying to pull in numbers of a system that doesn't even exist yet. So once the system forms and the closer we get, we'll get better and better at knowing what exactly is going to happen. So I do want to lead off with that. And in terms of when it's going to form, we're really looking at tomorrow. So it could be that as soon as tomorrow, we're going to get a better picture of what could happen for us here in Central Virginia. I mean, we're still like 4 or 5 days out from the beginning of this, much less the after impacts. So we're talking about Wednesday morning is we're going to see our low pressure system develop. That's going to be, you can see, kind of tracking up towards the northeast. And yes, we're taking a quick view of Texas, my old stomping grounds back in Texas. And they're not going to be talking about a crazy snowstorm, but this is going to impact them as well. We have a large swath of the southeastern United States and all the way out to Texas is going to be dealing with some negative impacts. And to be honest with you, we're not even getting the worst of it, in my opinion.
Don't they say everything's bigger in Texas? Is that a saying?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is. That's all I'll say about
blaming Texas for this.
Blaming Texas?
Yes.
All right, whatever you say. Oh, my goodness. Well, by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon in Texas, again, we're going to be looking at the chance for scattered showers to increase. You see some of those showers starting to travel up towards the east. And again, we're still kind of waiting for this low to develop at this point by the time we get to Wednesday. And then by the time we get later to Wednesday night, we'll be talking about a better view of the system. We'll be talking about that low pressure developing, and you can see that they're going to be dealing with increased chances for those widespread showers due to the increased moisture. So this is the area that we're targeting to actually see our system develop. Not there yet. Hopefully tomorrow we'll start to see that low pressure form, and then we'll be able to see. We'll go to the questions in just a minute if we have any, but I do want to go ahead and get to this futurecast first, just in case you guys are curious, so we can take a quick peek here of what's going on. So we're jumping all the way ahead to this weekend, and you'll see all the pinks and all the blues. Now, I was just talking about Texas, by the way. Texas stretching all the way potentially through Mississippi, Alabama, the northern half of Georgia, and the Carolinas. They are actually tracking a major ice storm. So there's going to be this kind of barrier between the folks who are, I don't want to say worse off than us, but quite frankly, we all know that the ice storms are typically going to be larger impact in terms of losing power. I'm sure Mary Catherine knows about all that fun stuff. So in terms of that, we're really just looking at pretty much a snow impact for us, maybe a tad bit of ice on the back end. So we get to Saturday afternoon, and we are looking at snow, and more snow. You'll notice you go south into the Carolinas, they're talking more on the ice side of things. This takes us all the way through Sunday. And Sunday morning, we may continue to be dealing with snow. So we're now at about the 24-hour mark of seeing snowfall. And the snow is expected to be chunky in the sense of us having a very nice, view of a very nice shot of exactly, Mary Catherine. There we are.
Trying to cut me out of this? That's crazy.
It's going to give us a big fluffy snow is what I'm trying to say. So the reality is that starting Saturday morning, it's already going to be cold because we're going to have all this Arctic air here. And then there's a good chance we're going to get these nice, big, fluffy, chunky snowflakes. And so it could build up very quickly. And the last couple times that we had the winter weather, it really didn't stick to the roads initially. You know, we had it was warm beforehand. The roads were not cold enough. But because we're going to be cold and we're going to get the snow early Saturday, and temperatures are expected to stay in the teens on Saturday throughout the day. Jeez. We're not going to warm up. And so it's really just going to be extremely cold all day Saturday. So now we're on Sunday, and we move forward Sunday. And some models are now pulling this in to not wrap until at least after sunset on Sunday. Some are pulling this into very late Sunday night, early Sunday morning. So obviously when you get snow like that we're talking 24 to 36 hours of dealing with snow, which is kind of insane, at least in my opinion.
I don't know if I've ever experienced snow for that long. I feel like it's only ever maybe like overnight is what I feel like we normally get.
And again, to compare these to recent memory, which I know a lot of folks are probably thinking back to prior snowstorms that you guys have seen in Virginia. And to compare this to what we just saw in December, we had our two snows so far this season, at least measurable snowfall, like a few inches. And I do want to touch on one of the reasons that we're so confident this far out that we're going to see snow. Last time we didn't really grasp this until 2 to 3 days in advance. You're like, well, I've been hearing about this since Sunday. And this is just a test to the actual models that we're running. And all of them are still having a lot of differences on how much snow we're going to get, which is the bummer part. But the fact that they're both agreeing that we're going to get snow, potentially more than just a little bit, is why we have very high confidence that it is going to snow this weekend. Even though we're 4 to 5 days out, we're already tracking this. And then going into the timeline that I wanted to talk about in terms of how far out we are, which here's the rest of that, kind of tapering off overnight into Monday. If you're like, oh, what are the roads going to look like Monday? Bad. I don't have a better way to put it. I don't know what to tell y'all. And especially for essential workers, I know that I will be here. Mary Catherine, Matt is going to be here. Madison, Tyler, like we're all going to be here this weekend. You know, we're on call, just like a lot of folks, like the people who work, nurses, people who are, EMS, our fire, police. Now is a good time to prepare, especially if you know you're going to have to be working. Definitely check up on your cars if you can stay somewhere close to work. I think that's going to be huge for people. And I'm one of those people who's like, if you don't have to leave, don't leave. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, the fewer people we can have out on the road Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and maybe even going into the beginning of next week is going to be huge. I just want to go ahead and say that. If you don't have to go anywhere, don't go anywhere. So where are we at? 6 to 8 days. This was really yesterday where we're just kind of looking for a pattern. So now we're at that 4 to 5 day mark, bordering on 3 to 4. So right now we're looking for consistency. So now we're super sure we're going to see snow. And then it's like, does the setup make sense? Yes. We can't actually see the setup yet, but we're getting there. And then we move forward to tomorrow. And I will tell you, Mary Catherine, tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And this is a question everybody wants to know, how much snow are we going to get?
I know. No one has asked it yet in these questions, but I mean, that's what I want to know.
I know.
Is how much. Oh, actually, someone did ask. Sheila Allen asked, how much?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, on Facebook.
Sheila, I'm asking the same question, okay? You will not see a snowfall map from us likely today. I will go ahead and get that on the table. The models are still not converging on exactly how much we could see. And you guys are probably going to see models at this point that are pulling in those crazy numbers, like crazy, like 1 foot, 2 feet of snow. I'm not the type of person that's going to say anything's off the table. But I do think those are, I mean, the models that are pulling in 20 to 24 inches, I mean, that would be record, historic, blow records out of the water for us here in Central Virginia. So the actual like chances of that are just so slim that I don't want us to prepare for a doomsday scenario of snow. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't have the totals for you. What I do think is, I was just talking to meteorologist Madison Ohms, who usually hosts this with Mary Catherine here. And I am hopeful that we'll be able to put something out tomorrow, maybe tomorrow night. Would be a really great shot. Because tomorrow will basically be the 72 hours out from the start. Usually at that point, we can get a really good picture. This is our 2 to 3 days out. So I am hoping, praying, do my best. Matt and I are still talking. Chief Meteorologist Matt Denard and I are still talking very closely, even though he's not here right now in-house. And hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to get y'all our thoughts on snowfall totals. The bottom line is, I think we're going to see a few inches of snow. I mean, that is certainly likely. And it's also important to remember where you are. Because based on the track of this system, there's a good chance that if you're north of Metro Richmond, you're going to be on the lower end of those snowfall totals. And if you're further south, say near the Virginia-North Carolina line, you may be looking at higher snowfall totals. So it is going to be a large range when we do release that. Again, hopefully tomorrow. I don't know if we'll be able to release it until tomorrow night. We'll see where we stand. And then by the time we get to Friday, we're going to be looking at specifics, exact timing, location, overall impacts, whatever. Really, I think by Thursday, you guys tune in for every single update, not only just be on the forecast, but also watching all the latest updates, because that's going to be a really, really good picture there. And in terms of the biggest snowstorms, I know we've already touched on this, but here's just a view of how often we get this much snow. Because Mary Catherine, have you seen the people on social media?
I have. I have. They are reminiscing.
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I've seen the posts already of people posting potential snowfall totals that are up there with that 21.6 inches, January 23rd to 24th, which is, by the way, what's today, the 20th? Look at these dates. We're really lining up pretty close when you look at the top two to the end of January. So we're online there, but 21.6 inches is literally like Richmond's record snowfall from one storm, guys. I don't want to say that it's not possible, but I mean, we are looking at the very high end of you know, this is just insane. Like, some of these numbers are just absolute insanity. So we get down the road there. Number 5, 16.3 inches. That's still a ton of snow, nearly a foot and a half there. Get down to about a foot. Number 10 on the list, 12.6 inches. Now we're talking about more plausible scenarios, at least in my opinion, once we get to those higher, less than a foot, but up to those higher numbers, especially in isolated locations. Is it off the table? Not necessarily. Then you get down to number 15, and there's your 10.9 inches. So could we break the top 15, y'all? I don't know if I keep hitting the wrong one. I don't know if we're gonna break the top 15 with this. So I don't want that to be like panic mode. I'm anti-panic mode.
That's a good thing to be anti.
So anyway, do you remember any of these? That was gonna be my question for you.
I do remember 2016. Now that I can see them all laid out. I was in high school, and we were out for school. I think about almost 2 weeks. I went to, so here's the fun thing. That was my junior year of high school. And I think I went to Disney World the week that it snowed this much. Oh. So I came home.
Fun.
And it was snow everywhere. And my mom was freaking out, kind of, because I was missing a week of school. She planned the vacation. I was missing a week of school, though, for the vacation because she wanted to take us to Disney World. I was like, I'm not going to say no to that. And I ended up, like, not missing anything because everyone was out of school.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah, it was good timing. But I do remember that one. I was born in 2000, and I've heard my mom talk about that 11 inches in 2000.
I saw a few folks comment on some posts about the storm of 2000.
Because a lot of people lost power, I remember. Like, my grandparents were the only ones. They have a generator. We did not have a generator at the time. And I remember my parents saying they live like half a mile away. So they literally walked us to my grandparents' house, I believe, and because they were the only ones who had a generator that we could all warm up and cozy up in. And then in 2018, I was in college in Boston, so I missed that one too. So all the ones that I can remember, I kind of missed out on, which kind of sucks, but that's okay.
I don't remember any of the ones on this list. For those who don't know, I did live in Northern Virginia when I was a child from about 2006 to 2009. And so I was in Northern Virginia for, I believe it was called Snowmageddon, which was in late December of 2009. That was the most snow that I have ever seen. It ended up being about 1.5 feet. It was like 18 to 20 inches.
Wow.
Which is a ton of snow. Again, this was in Northern Virginia. This was in the D.C. area. And again, ton of snow. My hunch right now is that, like, this is not going to be record-breaking snow for myself, if that tells y'all anything. I would be, quite frankly, shocked if we saw that much snow. So in terms of record-breaking snow for me, don't know if we'll get quite that high. But yeah, these are our biggest snowstorms. So I just do want to put that in perspective, because remember, these records are, as Matt says, these records are here for a reason. We're talking about things that rarely ever happen. And a lot of these, you'll notice, are prior to the 2000s. In fact, a lot of them are in the 1960s, 1980s, or even prior to that. So we really are looking at a lot of people. I've seen the taglines of historic snow, the possibility of massive snowstorm. And we are going to be looking at a snowstorm, and it is going to give major impacts to us here in Central Virginia. And that is all certainly true. And so I did want to pop this up so just that we can see what we know right now. And then if we have any other questions, we can get to those as well. This is really what I know for sure, because I don't want to put anything out there that is misleading. And I am not going to give you guys snowfall totals even tonight, because I'm just not there yet. And I'm not going to give you guys snowfall totals that are going to change by 6 inches when you wake up tomorrow morning. I feel like that's not fair. So until we have a good idea of how much snow we're going to get, which is the last point there, too early for snow amounts, you won't see that. I am hopeful we will get a better picture this time tomorrow. It's going to depend on if the models start agreeing even better once we get the timing. I mean, if it snows for 36 hours, yeah, we're going to see quite a bit of snow. So we do have a Viper alert in place for Saturday and Sunday, because those are snow days, and it's going to be actively snowing, it looks like, for most of the day Saturday and potentially most of the day Sunday. We have very good model agreement. That's why our confidence is very high that we're going to have snow. The actual track of okay, is Ashland going to get 20 inches or 6 inches, or is Emporia going to get 20 inches or 6 inches, vice versa, is yet to be determined. So that's why we don't have those. A lot of times when we have our snowfall maps, we'll really single out who's getting what, and you have the lines of okay, if you're in Chesterfield County, it'll be more than if you're in Ashland, further north of Metro Richmond and Goochland, New Henrico. And so once we get the track, once we know who's getting the snow, who's getting the potential for ice, all that fun stuff, then we'll be able to get a better picture. Do we have any questions? Any new questions?
No questions, okay, which shocks me. I think people are just, honestly, they want the totals. That's and okay. I know. They will not be here until maybe tomorrow night.
I am hoping that it will be tomorrow. Again, I really don't make any promises at this point, but I am optimistic that we're going to put something together tomorrow. It's going to be down. We're watching these models that are spitting out different outcomes. And so that's one of our jobs, is we're taking these different models, and I don't show model runs on my Facebook page, because it's so easy to grasp that one model. I do the same thing. It's you look at a model and it's 24 inches at my house. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. And so it's really hard to even get that out of your head. But we're always looking at the latest model runs. They're changing every single time. And the hope is that the big models that we look at, the European model, the American model, will start to converge. And right now they are converging in the sense that the timing is very similar, right? Early Saturday to late Sunday. We're good. The problem is the snowfall totals. I'm talking 2 to 1. Yeah. I'm talking one of them says X amount, the other one says 2X that amount. So I can't, I'm not going to give you snowfall, Mary Catherine, that says 0 to 10 inches. What good does that do you?
Not much. That's a wide range there.
Exactly. And I just want people to understand that we genuinely, I have the same question as you. We're doing our best to nail that down for y'all. And then the last thing I just have is 8-day before we tap out here. But
I do have 2 questions that people
throw
want
up
to
the
know.
poll. Throw up the
No, they're
questions.
on Facebook.
Facebook, what do we got?
People want to know, what is a Viper alert?
Oh, great question.
That's a great question.
Great question. So we release the Viper Alert days. It's basically days that we are going to be seeing significant weather impacts, perhaps even severe weather. In this specific case, we put out the Viper Alert so early, again, tying back to our high confidence that we're going to be receiving snow. And so what this means is we are tracking a high chance for major impacts from a winter storm on Saturday and Sunday that could be, unfortunately, like detrimental to your ability to drive. Potentially, we're going to be looking at dangerously cold conditions. A few inches of snow is certainly in the forecast. Roads are probably going to be dangerous, all that fun stuff. So we put out a Viper Alert day. It's 2 days that we're just paying extremely close attention to. And for the latest on those, just tune back in for our forecast. I'll be on from 4 to 6:30 today, as well as 8 News at 11 p.m. this evening. And then Madison Olms will be back early tomorrow morning, so on and so forth. And so we're just kind of tagging those days as potentially dangerous, ones to look out for, hence the Viper Alert. And you can see the red bars there. So very, very easy to tell apart from all the other days.
And the other question is, does snow affect the power? That's the one thing I dislike about snow.
Great question. I am never one to say the power will or won't go out, okay? But the good news is, with snow, typically, we don't see power interruptions like we do with ice. When you get ice on the power lines and such, it takes very little ice to cause major power disruptions, for you to have major issues. So when we're talking about a snowstorm like this, and really, I'm looking at snow only. We may see a little bit of sleet mixed in late Sunday night, but this is not looking to be an ice storm in any means for us. We're going to be so cold on Saturday. Look, 25-19. We are well cold enough for this to be an only snow event, along with other factors, that we're not looking at an ice storm. So again, I can't speak to individual power disruptions because sometimes power goes out on a windy day. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes the power does go out, but this is not expected to be like a major issue. Those usually happen with the ice storms. So hopefully those things stay positive. We're looking good on that front. So, definitely not as huge of a concern. I'm personally, Mary Catherine, my biggest concern, and for folks out there, this is the last thing I'll say, is going to be for the roads for the days following. Because the problem to me, and what makes me concerned selfishly for myself driving out on the roads, and for my friends and for family, is that it's going to snow Saturday and Sunday. And even if we get the lower end of those snowfall totals, a lot of times we still have problems with the roadways around here.
Yeah, one person says they got some traveling this weekend, so they're going to wait till Thursday to see what we've got to say about this storm. It's good.
Absolutely.
That's smart.
So sorry, that's an alarm to go. Do some cut-ins. So this is the last thing I'll say. When you look forward into next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, look at those temperatures. Single digits Monday morning, below freezing Monday afternoon. 10 degrees Tuesday morning, below freezing Tuesday afternoon. We're not going to melt. Everything's going to be frozen. So we're talking about getting all the snow, even if we get on the lower end of the snowfall amounts. And by lower end, still a couple inches. I'm definitely concerned about the impacts to roadways and such, if that makes sense. And the prolonged impacts of everything's going to freeze. We're not going to get any melting on the roads, melting of the snow. It's going to be around for a while. So that's kind of the tail end of the after impacts of getting all the snow. So I really hope that, I hope that things are proactive. I hope things are good. I know so far here, the first snowstorm we got wasn't bad. The roads weren't bad, but the second one, they were pretty dangerous. So I hope that everything goes fine. I don't do the roads, so I don't know.
We only do the weather. We don't do the roads.
We only do the weather.
We do the weather, we do the news, but we don't do the roads.
Oh, my goodness. Anyway, are there any other questions before we sign out? Good to go?
That's it.
Okay,
We're good to go.
Yeah, just stay updated with us for the latest. I know we want those snowfall totals. I'm really hopeful we'll be able to bring those to you tomorrow from the StormTracker8 team. But yeah, tune back in tomorrow. I will be here again tomorrow. Maybe Mary Catherine will be. Maybe it'll just be me yapping. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I hope that you guys all have a wonderful day. Tune in later tonight. Tune in tomorrow. We'll bring you all the updates. I promise. We're not hiding anything from y'all. We'll let you know what we think when we get the snowfall totals. Yay for snow.
Woohoo.
Hopefully, you guys are excited. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.